Hey Zodiacs, okay, so I'm not even sure what to call this video because it's encompassing a lot of the themes that I continually see in the readings, whether I've done this in personal readings with you, whether they're coming up in the Zodiac readings on the weeklies, the fortnightlies, or the monthlies. Definitely something I'm really passionate about is connecting the dots. Now, I wanted to be able to do just like a separate video on the collective themes that we are all operating within in one way or another. Okay, so if you've watched any of the Zodiac videos I've put up on YouTube, you know that I've been talking about the influence of the planetary retrogrades. We're currently smack bang in the middle of retrograde season. I've loosely explained the planets are unique personalities or energies, if you like. If we were to have a room full of people at a party, everyone is unique in their own way. If we were in a boardroom at work, everyone brings their unique skills to the table. Everyone plays a vital cog in the greater wheel, if you like. These are the gifts of the retrograde. They will enter the picture. These are the gifts of the planets, I should say. They enter the picture offering us an opportunity. And when they're in retrograde, nearly all of them have a stronger energetic influence. You will feel their energy more on subconscious layers, on conscious layers, okay? Except for Uranus, which I've been talking about in the August monthly reads. Something, and this is a big part of the downloads I was receiving during July. Now, my work, my healing work, I talk about, and I've said this in a lot of the videos as well, I work with the 5 bodies. We are more than just a physical body. We are an emotional body, a thought body, an energy body, and a soul. What I've noticed, thanks to Uranus going retrograde in the month of August, there is this massive theme now presenting to even identify. Like if I want to use the tarot, that's why I've got them all laid out here to show you the theme. So you've got picture format. I think I even joked in the Scorpio reading about me wanting to do a slideshow or something to that effect, just to be able to physically present exactly what I'm intuiting and how I'm connecting these dots. But it's real. This energy is real. It's coming out in a lot of the readings. It's actually quite beautiful to see. Now, if we are, okay, working with the 5 bodies and the soul is perhaps something that mainstream doesn't deal with. Same too with the energy body, if that's the sensory experience of the human being. We're very comfortable with the physical. We need to see it, touch it, feel it. It needs to be in front of us in order for us to believe it. We're familiar with our thoughts. We use them a lot. We're a very left brain, logic ruled society, yes. You'll see that across structures in education, science, mainstream, whatever the case may be. We're familiar with our emotions, but perhaps in many ways our society, where it is as a platform, has only just begun that awareness raising, that it is safe to talk about emotions, that to have feelings is not necessarily a bad thing or weakness, and so forth. You get it. But as light workers, as empaths, intuitives, and sensitives, we're all very, very familiar with not just, and perhaps we've struggled with the physical layer, the physical vessel, how we receive ascension symptoms, how we feel energy that we cannot explain to a logic world because it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't come out of a textbook. Take it however it resonates. So, as empaths, intuitives, and sensitive, not only are we familiar with the physical body, but the thought body, the emotional body, and the energy body. The energy body is where we pick up our sensory experiences. We pick up our psychic abilities. We sense things unseen that we cannot see with the eyes or hear with the ears. We believe it because it's real on that level. But jump over the fence to mainstream. The sensory body, the sensory being is recognized in mainstream, which is why when it comes to mental health, we've got labels like ODD, ASD, ADHD, all of that sort of, it is based on sensory experiences of individuals, yes, and how our consciousness transfers that perception and ability. And of course, on our side of the fence, not on mainstream, we definitely align with what you would perceive as the soul. You know, the soul is eternal. If we believe in reincarnation, if we connect in with soul energy, whatever the case may be. My passion, the focus of my work is very much about merging mainstream and soul, making sense of all of it. It doesn't need to be divided up into these. Perhaps that's how we limit ourselves, okay? And empaths, intuitives, and sensitive know this too, that we can get stuck in our minds. We can get stuck in our emotions. We can get stuck in our energy body. Hence, we experience things like overwhelm, dark night of the soul. We have intense experiences when it comes to ascension symptoms. But what if, and this is the gift of Uranus going retrograde. We've already got quite a few planets in retrograde. Uranus is the oddball. Its energy is the same, whether it is going retrograde or not. Its energy is the same. What does that mean? Well, he's going to be the same no matter where he finds himself. He's going to be the same individual, the same energy, no matter what environment he finds himself in, no matter what rules he's told to live by, should be doing, can't be doing. He is the oddball and he is eccentric, and in his wholesome, healthy way, he is very, very comfortable to be himself despite being different. Now, isn't that a beautiful lesson and wisdom to gain? He is the same wherever he is, whether he is going retrograde or direct, and that is the gift of Uranus going direct this month. That you can be unique and individual in your own way, okay? Our society doesn't necessarily teach us or encourage us to be individuals, hence we've got a lot of things like don't shine too brightly, don't stand out too much. We have to go with the crowd, that's just not said. Take it however it resonates. It applies in many, many different ways. But that is also the very energy genuine empaths, sensitives, and intuitives struggle with, because we fall into this shadow dynamic then of connecting into others because we feel like we have to play by the rules or fit ourselves in, perhaps, if, you know, square pegs in round holes and whatnot, and we find ourselves having to not be ourselves, okay, because it is not safe to be. And that is the gift. Like, I have I'm picking a lot of the downloads I was getting in July was very much about light workers coming out and being themselves, comfortably speaking your truth in little ways and in big ways. There is no right or wrong way of doing this thing. You know, you can even see ascension and collective growth and consciousness expansion happening within the spiritual communities that we're all connected to. You know, there is no hard and fast way of doing this thing. And I was having a conversation with a beautiful creative friend this morning that it is essential that we each shine our own unique light, because that vibration, that unique frequency will influence certain people to activate their own. Now, if your dream is to be an acupuncturist and to be a naturopath, that's beautiful, that's great, you know, but that necessarily doesn't align with my frequency, my unique desire to express my own creative energy. But I might connect in with someone who's already doing something similar, yeah? And then that activation then happens. It's like a light activating another light, if you like. Your dream might be to, you know, secure that dream home and fulfill that amazing career, whatever the case may be, you know, and that's beautiful. And doing so and being yourself will activate the lights of those that are on the similar frequency. There's no right or wrong way to do this thing. You know, we are encouraged to continue to shine our light so that others have this freedom to be self. And that's what this is about. It's about restriction versus freedom. It is about love versus fear. There's a very old way in which we connect love, open to intimacy, and there's a new way that's trying to be birthed thanks to this age of Aquarius, the era of light. We've got powerful conjunctions at the end of this year as we lead into December, with Jupiter and Saturn conjuncting in Aquarius. Now, this is what this energy is leading us into. You know, how can we say we're ready for a new world if we're still in many ways operating by old paradigms that are connected to the old? Hence, Capricorns, you guys know it. You guys are the patriarch of the cosmos. You are the father figure. You have a lot of planetary activity going retrograde in your sign because we're getting to the heart of it all. There's a lot of mother energy thanks to a lot of the Cancerian transits, thanks to a lot of the Ceres activity that's happening with the asteroids and whatnot. Like, there's this divine feminine and masculine energy that has been desperate to be balanced in many ways over the last 2.5 years. That can be applied to each of us on our own journeys. What if we were very receptive, if we were very intuitive, if we were very introverted, those folks may have noticed this drive, this Martian drive coming out of them, a desire to speak more, a desire to have more boundaries, a desire to, you know, start to go after their goals, if you like, in many ways. If you were the opposite energy and always found yourself using masculine energies, a lot of drive, a lot of logical thinking, a lot of, you know, you might have found yourself in the last 2.5 years really pulling back in many ways, getting in touch with your feminine side, your intuition, your nurture, really being drawn more to self-nurture and whatnot, okay? So it applies to everyone. It's not necessarily, like I continually say, the twin flame journey happens within. Now, what has been happening? Thanks to a lot of the ecliptical stuff, we've seen a lot of sun and moon show up. There's so much mirroring that it's not funny. These two energies are complementary to each other, and they must exist. They offer very different energies, but are essential for the greater whole. Same too are these, this devil energy and the lover's energy. Look at the symbolism that is here. They are the same couple, different energy, old way in which we connect, whether it is in romantic and love relationships, whether it is with family, friends, whatever the case may be. Power versus empowerment, very, very different energies. Our old world, our old 3D structures is very much, if you look at the way in which we extract energy and resources from Earth herself so that we can fuel our very lifestyles that we live. And if you flip that coin and you look at the way in which you can connect into a limitless supply of energy, if this is talking about self, okay? Our old world has shown us as empaths we need to protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. We need to, you know, instead of being the underdog, we need to try and rise above and elbow our way to the top. We need to be powerful over others in order to succeed. It's very old patriarchal energy which is trying to be transmuted through Capricorn, through these transmutations that have been happening, through the conjunctions that have been happening. Capricorn has just completed an ecliptical cycle. We have just entered an ecliptical cycle with Gemini leading the North Node. This is the past. The Capricorns led the South Node. Geminis are now leading the North Node, replacing Cancer. This is about that unconditional 5D love. What does that mean? I've said this in many readings. If I was to talk about our mainstream view of love versus the potential of unconditional love, how far away are we from truly being able to embrace that and be able to say, I genuinely love my neighbor, my brother or sister, as I love myself? We're very, very far. We see the unrest. We see the division. Our world encourages us to divide. Fear is a very real energy, but so too is the power of choice. This is like energy vibrate. I've seen this divide, okay? Two different energies. I've seen that for 2 years, and I've talked about it quite a lot. There's like, we can either choose to continue to vibrate at this level. Why am I turning it on its side? Because that's how I see it in the vision. You can continue to ascend out of this and see the higher view and connect into these frequencies whenever you choose. We're going to our mainstream jobs, going into our mainstream connections, feeling like we have to. Empaths are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Feeling like we have to play this certain role to live here, yeah? But then there's this other version of ourselves, this higher version of ourselves that knows better, that desires compassion, that desires love for all. Very different frequencies, but this is also the vision that comes with the gift of Aquarius coming in to offer us a whole new way of being, and that's what the retrogrades are for. It's really asking us to go through, clean house, get to the depths of our subconscious, hence the retrogrades, to really ask ourselves, which one do we truly believe in big ways and in little ways, okay? Those of you that have done the work, that have done a lot of the work in the last couple of years, you would see this literally play out in the way in which you connect to others, romantic or otherwise. You're no longer vibrating to this energy of fear, control, playing a certain role, whether you have always found yourself being the empath versus the narcissist. We're really moving out of that paradigm, because that, in essence, keeps us disconnected from the very essence of what we are. As empaths, we are empowered, not just to realize that we can be the sponge of other people's energy, but it is that very act that connects us into this knowing, that we can feel others, we can feel the greater need out there, and perhaps to be completely disconnected. If I keep pushing away that part of myself that I struggle with so much, it will ultimately push me away from the very essence of what the world needs. As empaths, you know, I'm really drawn to this new frequency that's been coming through in downloads for me about really connecting to the awakening empath, the empowered empath. We have moved away from this energy. There's no more limiting ourselves to a victim mindset, because we are completely, how are we supposed to connect to manifestation and say, I want to start manifesting the life of my dreams and the reality of my dreams, if I'm still vibrating at this level under old paradigms? Yeah, this is a massive growth opportunity for so very many. And I get it. I can use the word ascension. It's, oh, ascension doesn't apply to everyone, Ali. Not everyone's interested in ascension. But if I was to make that term very practical, it literally means growth. Growth out of old paradigms, old ways of being, thinking, doing, the way in which we limit ourselves from connecting into expansion, opportunity, connecting into this concept of abundance. And abundance, success, achievement is unique to your own personal definitions of it. It is not just money in the bank. For those of us that have always struggled with our mindset and our thoughts, it is peace of mind and acceptance. For those of us that, as empaths, that have struggled with our emotional body, it is no longer feeling like we're drowning in our emotions and that of others. It is truly about connecting into emotional intelligence and becoming empowered. So I can talk on and on. I'm seeing a lot of connectivity. I'm seeing a lot of coming together of the divine masculine and feminine. Doesn't matter what suit you are. Fire, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. Water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. The swords are ruled by Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And of course, the lovely King and Queen of Coins is ruled by Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. Doesn't matter what zodiac you are. I'm seeing a lot of union energy, okay? If I was to use these guys as an example, this union of the divine masculine and feminine is happening within all of us, okay? If you have been someone that has never truly been able to master the practical, that can be your everyday life. Why am I such a sensitive empath? I can't master this everyday routine. I never seem to be able to hold down a job. I get overwhelmed by energy. I'm not able to manifest the money I've wanted. You know, I'm really trying to manifest abundance, but I've got this mindset block, this karmic block, whatever the case may be. The coins rule the physical realm. It is the representation of our reality, our human vessel, our physical body. Hence, it's ruled by the earth signs. If this is not you, but it shows up for you, you are mastering something you have forgotten. Okay? Bear with me. Same too with the waters. How much of our society has taught us to suppress our emotions? You might be an earth sign. You might be connecting into your emotional body. Hence, you're seeing a lot of water in your readings. Okay? Our waters make up 70% of who we are. There is nothing to be afraid of. It is essentially who we are. It connects us into our creative essence, connects us into our feeling structure, all right? The waters are vital, okay? Whether you are a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, whether you have that in your chart somewhere. And I also wanted to say with the zodiacs, despite what your sun sign is, I will say this 1,000 times, check out your rising sign, your moon sign. Your moon sign and your Venus sign will actually speak about your love language, the way in which you connect to your emotions, okay? And if you're having an emotional time as a Sagittarius, for example, it is probably because your moon sign is being activated. It is probably because, and that might be Uranus in retrograde. That might be Saturn conjuncting whatever, okay? This is why astrological birth charts tell a much deeper multidimensional story about who we are, rather than just, yep, when I was born, the sun was in Leo. You are more than just that. There's so much more to learn about self. I can continue. The fire body is our dynamic, our creative, our drive. Any empath that has been on the journey of self, where you are disconnected from your life force, maybe you're seeing a lot of fire sign cards show up in your zodiac readings, okay? You might be activating this. You might have your Mars sign, which is our driving force, as a fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. Take it however it resonates. This is connecting into the energy body. If On a practical level, we are going through some form of an awakening, and we've always been connected to our thoughts, our thought body, or our emotions. We're suddenly having psychic and sensory experiences because I'm having these vivid dreams. I'm having, I'm seeing flashes of light come out of the corner of my eye. I'm experiencing intense downloads, meditation experiences, whatever the case may be. You are activating your energy body. And then, of course, the thought body, ruled by, like I said earlier, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. What if we have, and this is something else that I actually wanted to speak in extension of, there's a whole new way of doing things. Yes, we're moving from an old world into a new. What if the old world, the third dimensional world, was very much logical, like I said earlier? Okay, we're very comfortable in the mind. But, and I've said this in many zodiac readings for the month of August, which is why I wanted to do this video. We've also been told by science, okay, and medicine, that the normal human being has only ever used, 3, 5, 10% of the human mind? That's 90% black space, unknown, unmet potential. What the hell does that mean? And have we been using that 10%, 5% to the best of its ability? Well, no. Why do we have so many mental health challenges? Why do we have so much struggle when it comes to being able to shift our mindset so that we can create the life of our dreams, so that we can create to the powerful visions that are wanting to come through about getting us out of this rut? Despite what we were grown in, shown, the beliefs we were instilled with, okay? This is the level of the mind. This is the thought body. This is the energy body. This is the emotional body, and this is the physical body, okay, or your physical reality. Why am I talking about this? Because we are moving out of old paradigms, old ways in which to do things. If you have been someone that has been very heavy, like thought dominant, if you like, you might be swimming through the emotions to develop a more vulnerable or a safe, vulnerable relationship with your emotions. You might be someone that has been swimming in your emotions and completely familiar with emotional work, shadow work. You might be a healer, okay? And so this year has very much been about you really working with this energy to activate this energy, to create change, envisage change, so that you can see a manifestation of that in your physical realms. Hence, union. We're balancing. There's this healing energy happening. There is a lot of, now not only is that happening in the suits, okay, so the tarot is divided up into 22 major arcana and then 4 suits, the 4 suits that I mentioned earlier: wands, cups, coins, and swords. They are the 4 elements. Once we are mastering this ourselves, okay, we then start to see the queen. Every queen that comes before the Empress is what makes her who she is. She is more than just the Queen of Cups. She is the Queen of Coins, the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. Same too goes for the Emperor, okay? He has mastered all the energies that have come before him in the other kings. So when I'm seeing this sort of connectivity, I'm connecting into those that will be helping others connect into this. I could definitely call this a marriage. I can certainly call this a marriage, okay? Regardless of what... but this is also internal work, guys. When it comes to ascension, when it comes to awakening, we are reaching mastery level. I want to take it one step further and show you these two guys. Okay, these two have manifested. They have mastered manifestation energy because they're embracing all 4 elements of themselves. Bear with me. Then they take it up to that next level where they're merging with their higher self, their monad self, their higher soul, whatever the case may be. And we see the masculine of this spiritual embodiment or the feminine of this spiritual embodiment. Okay, what does embracing the manifestation energy mean? Well, I have mastered my thoughts. I have mastered my emotions. I have connected to my energetic body, and I'm able to now drive, create, see, sense, experience. This is divine fire. And I'm now able to bring that and ground that down into the physical. Cool, huh? Once I'm doing that, I've already balanced all 4 elements within me. So I'm sitting at this level. This is important for a lot of people out there because I can feel it in your readings. This means something by the time you reach the end of this year into 2025. This is the rate we're going at, okay? So you're embodying manifestation energy using all 4 elements of your being. Remember when I said I work with the 5 bodies? We are more than just the physical. We are the emotional body, the thought body, the energy body, and we are a soul. What if to be superhuman means we are balanced in all of these aspects? More importantly, we know what role they play. How many empaths, sensitives, intuitives out there that just want to disconnect from this energy? The 3D world's not for me. I want to go off grid. I just don't get humans. Someone come and zap me away. Let the aliens take me home. Rada, rada, rada. Guess what? We have embodied this physical vessel, this experience, this incarnation. We have asked to be here on a soul level for one reason or another. And I'm only talking about this because I can really relate how disconnection was a safety experience for me. I needed to disconnect from energy constantly. I needed to disconnect from my physical reality because it was way too challenging on my emotional body, on my physical body, until I went through some massive dark nights of the soul many times, many awakening symptoms, in order to realize I had to merge mainstream and soul. I had to ground down. I had to embody, okay? Because I've got 2 kids to look after. I've got rent to pay. I've got food to buy to make sure that they're fed and we can have some semblance of a comfortable life. But yet, more than anything, my resistance to this was like, why can't I just go meditate on a mountain? You know? And I'm sure any empath out there can completely relate to this. It is now time. We are moving into 2021. It is now time for you to shine your light. We must merge mainstream and soul rather than continue to disconnect from it. And the more you empower yourself as an empath, the more you grow in your balanced form, because you know in yourself, in your own healing journey, what you need to master, okay? What your unique gifts are. No one can tell you that. It will be discovered by you, okay? Once you have done that in yourself, you will know what this energy feels like. And it's easier then to connect to this. It's easier then to identify the difference between these, because we don't have to keep coming into union with our shadow in order to understand the importance of shadow work. We don't have to separate this as an ideal that it's somewhere out there. We can actually merge this into here and see the truth of this for what it is. Okay? We need the sun and the moon to play their certain roles. There is no good or bad. What else did I want to talk about? So when I talk about the 5 bodies, a lot of what's been happening in the August readings is I've taken that concept a little bit further, and this is going to help some out there for sure. Okay, so our 3D world, as we're shifting out of it into this whole new world, okay? Rules, structures, boundaries, the way in which we think things should be done. We've only used perhaps at best the 10% of the human mind. What if we've been using it in all the wrong ways? Okay, you see it in mainstream. We hear about instinct. You hear about our emotions. You hear about thoughts and the level of the mind. Okay, what if instinct and intuition, okay, has been very, very confused? You hear it all the time. Follow your instinct, follow your gut, intuition, follow your gut. But instinct is this primal, it is the base chakra stuff. It differentiates safety and fear. That's it. That's its only job. And if I go back to use the analogy of the planets, if everyone came to the table offering a unique gift, if my instinct, my intuition, my heart language, my thoughts all sat at a table and they all played a certain role at a boardroom within this structure of I am that I am, okay? My instinct's only role is to let me know if I am unsafe based on its sensory abilities. That's it. That is the place fear plays in us. That is the place fear plays in us absorbing new information, new ways of perceiving things, new feelings, new experiences. How often does our consciousness come up against cognitive dissonance because we are afraid? Haven't done that before. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Society tells me I shouldn't do that. You know, fear only has its role when it comes to our instinct. So I can be very, very practical and use my logical mind and say, well, Ali, are you safe to open up and start that business idea? Are you safe to be able to name your thing? If you're doing anything different out of your normal structures, okay, you're wanting to start your own business outside of a 9-to-5 career, you're wanting to open up to love again, you're wanting to be able to take a financial risk when it comes to investments, I don't care what it is, you can apply it to anything. Our human function is to come up against cognitive dissonance because it may be something we've never seen before or experienced. So it is the unknown that we are most afraid of, and it is the unknown that is purely symbolized by this higher knowing. Our world has not taught us how to navigate the unknown because our logical mind doesn't know how to navigate it, but perhaps our intuition does, right? So all of I'm going to call them data perception channels, data feedback channels. As a human being, I have a mind, I have emotions, I have intuition, and I have my instinct. My instinct's only role is to differentiate safety and fear. Once that is out of the way, that's it. Its job is done. Yeah, Ali, you're safe to quit your full-time job that you hate. Now go and enroll in uni and do that course you love. Whatever. I'm just going to use random examples. And then I'm going to engage my emotional body. I'm going to start using my emotional body because my emotional body's at the boardroom table saying, Ali, how can I help you? Well, I'd like you to tell me how this feels. Does enrolling in this course feel right for me? Yeah, it makes me feel good. I know why I'm connecting to it. It means something to me. I want to serve a purpose that achieves X, Y, Z, whatever the case may be. It makes me feel good. Being around this person makes me feel good. I trust this friendship, this potential partner. I trust that the idea of it makes me feel good. I can't potentially know yet because I haven't lived it, all right? So it feels good. Trust it, let it go. My emotions have done their job. Now I move to the level of the mind. The mind is telling me, what do you know based on your history, Ali, if this is the right choice for you? Well, I don't know because I've never done it. But by the time I've engaged the proper role my instinct has to play, by the time I've engaged the proper role my emotions have had to play in this feedback process, I'm now at a level of peace in my mind to be completely rational and perhaps use my mind for what it's truly meant to do. Because what if we struggle with our mind so much because we confuse it with the role our instinct plays, with the role our emotions play, and we're continually looping up and down, hence we feel out of control, hence we feel ungrounded, hence we feel unbalanced, uncertain, I don't know, I've got anxiety, I've got stress. What if it's because this energy is like broop, 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 up and down all over the place and actually not being allocated to the place it's meant to go for processing? Okay, just my thoughts. So my logical mind in its peaceful state, because it hasn't been exhausted through false avenues of processing like instinct and my emotions, I've now arrived at a point in my logical mind where I can say, yeah, well, I'm going to give it a go. I can see it. I've gathered information from people that have done that course. I've done my research. I've figured out a plan of attack of being able to apply that to the very routines that I live day in, day out with my young family. It will work. We've crunched numbers. This is how I'm going to finance it for the next 3 years. Whatever the case may be. Great. Go and enroll. Boom. And all the while, I'm connecting in, like while I'm doing this, where did my other one go? Did I drop it? Where did the Queen of Wands go? She's right there. This is about our creativity, our genuine excitement, self-confidence. You're feeling it strong on every level at this point. So that if anyone comes to you and says, Ali, what the hell are you doing? You can't do that. You will fail. No, you've reinforced that foundation already to a point that you are no longer telling someone what your dreams are. You're telling them what your plans are and will be. If that makes sense, okay? And I've said this in a few of the readings too. If you had a beautiful business idea, if you had a desire to connect into some form of vulnerable energy, and you're really uncertain in yourself and you put it out there, it is going to be exposed to the harsh elements of judgment. No different if you put an infant out on your front lawn and exposed it to the weather elements. Yes? Which is why we are so critical of each other, because we know the world is like that. It is judgmental. It is everyone's watching everyone, and perhaps on some level that looks like this, we want people to fail so we don't feel as bad as our failures, or whatever the case may be. As empaths, why aren't people supportive? Well, they haven't been taught in the society that we live in to be genuinely supportive of people being individuals going against the grain. So we don't go to people that, if I've got a financial goal, we don't go to someone that's bad with their finances. If I want to learn how to connect better and form healthy relationships, I don't go to someone that hasn't been able to achieve that, etc. I don't share my infant dreams and goals that mean the world to my heart and my soul to people that haven't done it, haven't walked that path. Because if I've already processed it up here, like I said earlier, you're at a peaceful state in your logic to be able to do the research that is relevant, to seek the feedback that is relevant. So by the time you've processed this feedback channel through your instinct, through your emotions, through your logic, and someone comes at you and says, what are you doing? Why would you study now? You're too old to do that. Just stick with your career and settle down. And well, no, I'm less vulnerable because I've already processed it internally. I've already grown it, gestated it. Yeah, I've gestated this energy. It is already birthed. You can't tell me not to have a baby. I'm already holding it. So, does that make sense? And that is just those lower levels, you know. And when we start to talk about our intuition, our soul body, we're already reaching these levels. You know this because you've processed that energy on every other fiber of your being, every level of your being, every data feedback loop. You know it on a soul level that this is the right choice for you, despite the fact that it goes against family, despite the fact that it's different to what society tells you you should be doing at this point in your timeline, at this age, at this level of your life, regardless of whatever the case may be. You get it? It's like that's the gift of Uranus going retrograde, like I said earlier. Uranus energy is the same forwards as it is backwards. And his gift to the collective, to this planetary retrograde party, is you be you. And it is safe to be you, despite what's going on around you, despite whatever situation you find yourself in. Okay, unification of all the things that ever felt like conflict, conflicting energy. This is happening in a lot of the collective. Okay, this union energy. We're bringing into balance the parts. So that's what they talk about twin. Like, you know, I've said this in so many readings too. We talk about twin flame energy and we've externalized it. We've romanticized it because our world, our very 3D world, has told us about external energy. We seek power external. We seek support, happiness, validation outside of self. But this 5D energy of unconditional love is internal. It is limitless when we seek that. That's why I keep saying we are so far removed from this. Until we deal with our own shadows, until we merge with our shadows in many ways, okay? We will continue to attract the shadows in others because we're deeply desiring to attract our shadows to us, to merge them, okay? When that happens, we begin to notice this alchemy. I've always been someone that's never really connected to my emotions. I'm using this as an example. You know, if I'm saying I've always been someone that's not connected to my emotions, I've always been very practical, very logical, crunch my numbers, I use my mind, I go by my thoughts. But how far has that got you? What does it feel like? Tell me what it feels like. And then all of a sudden, not only are you feeling every pain you've ever been through, but you're now genuinely authentic, being able to connect to what authentically makes you feel like you. The gift of feeling is powerful, but so too is the gift of an empowered mind and an empowered and knowing energy body, creative body. You know, this is drive energy. How often do we get stuck in this 3D routine, realm, world where we're just eat, sleep, repeat, and there is no drive? You know what happens when that's happening? We're starting to seek excitement outside of what we're currently doing because we want passion, we want excitement. We tend to create drama because it's a bit exciting, because life is boring. The story goes on. But if I'm balancing this, I'm seeing it manifest on my physical reality changes. I have manifested my magician energy, my manifestation energy. I have activated my manifestation energy, rather. Okay? And I don't need to seek outside opinion for my thoughts. I don't need to seek someone else's thoughts. You know, like I say, research is one thing, you know, but when we're putting someone else's beliefs atop of our own lives, then that's when we start to experience this internal resistance. What was I going to say? That's your manifestation energy, okay? And many of the people that I'm connecting into in these readings, whether they're the personal readings, whether they're the zodiac readings, have merged on some level, are really coming to terms, you know, and this is the energy we are walking into. And you will notice this in your close friendships, your associates, your families, that there will be a very distinct divide at who has chosen to ascend out of old paradigms, okay? And we grow and glow in our own way. If it's finally putting that boundary line down, if it's a text back that says, no, sorry, not today, when you've always said yes. You know, if you've enrolled, if you quit that full-time job, like I said, little and big ways, you will know what your growth journey feels like. You will know how you're ascending out of old paradigms. And as I say with anyone, if we're going to be busy looking back at the past, always remember how far you have come. Look back for that purpose, all right? If we're going to be connecting into the future, talk to your future self, your higher self, our world, even the spiritual community. You know, when I first started connecting in 15, 20 years ago, I was really encouraged to contact my guides, contact my angels. But to me, that was like, it didn't make sense. What I wanted to talk to was my future self. Like, how did you get there, Ali? Because she was already, like, on some level, without being able to explain this, I was aware of my higher self in that form, you know? And I was sort of trying to disown this belief that I had to seek outside of me for direction, approval, acceptance, whatever the case may be, because it exists in here. And that's the other thing that I talk about, this activation energy, this manifestation energy. It's the zero field. This is the story of the tarot. This is why I'm using the tarot. The major arcana starts at the Fool, okay? Ends in the World. It takes a master 22 step journey. We are in the master 22 year to ascend outside of old paradigms, old beliefs, okay? So this zero field is that uncertain energy. It feels exciting, but the door isn't quite open. It feels scary because the doors from the past haven't quite closed. We are not used to zero field energy, but it is also the point of conception. We don't know how to explain it. What is that energy that grew us? Whether you've been pregnant or not, you at one point in your life, at the point of conception, were an exploding force of energy. That is life itself, and this exists in all of life. You grew yourself, no different to way the seed busted out of its shell to gestate and reach the top of the soil, to reach and meet the sunlight. We have this energy within us at all times. It is your manifestation, your transformation, your growth energy. Think of the very miraculous journey a person takes between the ages of conception and 2 years old. That energy exists within you always. You are not stagnant. It doesn't matter if you're 76 or 16 or 36, whatever the case may be, you can access that energy at all times, and it will take you on another round through the tarot. Okay? That is your manifestation ability. And the magician has the wand, the cup, the coin, the sword. He has everything on the table he needs to manifest and draw down his higher knowing into his everyday reality. As empaths, by disconnecting and only feeling safe with this part of ourselves and only being able to relate to people that are like this, not being able to ground and connect to the mainstream world, well, that is when we will always remain disconnected. That is when we will always struggle with manifestation energy. Feeling grounded is akin to not being able to manifest. Not feeling grounded is akin to not being able to manifest. We need to merge the two. It's a difficult journey and a process, yes, but you can always continue to look back and see how far you've come. Alrighty, I'm really excited how this energy is going to continue for the collective. What else did I want to talk about? talked about ecliptical cycles. Yeah, as we move into the age of Aquarius, okay, we're currently, you know, there's a lot of people that have been going through tower moments, ascension, breakdowns, endings of old ways. A lot of healing that's happening. A lot of scorpionic energy will start to show up in our readings as well. All right. Halfway through, when we are halfway through the planetary retrograde cycles is when we start to consciously become aware of what was sort of floating below the surface. It's all well and good for someone like myself to say, hey guys, heads up, this is the energy we're going to be experiencing. You know, it's one thing to sort of connect into the outside energy and the unseen. It's quite the other to be able to start to see that manifest in the physical. It takes time, okay? It takes time for this energy. No different. We can hear about solar storms, all right? We can hear about solar storms, but the collective won't feel that. You might not see evidence of that for 3, 4, 5 days. It is the same thing. These energies activate at some point in the timeline. Sensitives feel it. Not everyone does. What wave you're at and all that sort of jazz, okay? But I just wanted to do a little, here's how I interpret the energies through tarot and how the symbolism of tarot can very much be a very great assistance in understanding collective energies and how it all links astrologically when it comes to ascension, awakening, and the very practical and ways in which we're doing that. You know, I like to always say that I'm practically soulful. You know, it's not about being disconnected into this higher vision. It's about bringing that down in the here and now and enhancing my very human life. All right? Growth and light to you all. I wanted to put that out there. I still don't know what I'm going to call it. Maybe shadow and light, maybe ascension stuff. Awakening through the tarot, who knows? I'll think of something. All right, Zodiacs, have a beautiful month of August as this energy begins to permeate and start to express in your very own lives as we continue to progress through to the end of the year with some powerful conjunctions. Take care.